Game changer leading our news tonight. A revolutionary device to help people in addiction recovery received FDA market clearance. That treatment is exclusively offered at facilities here in Kentucky.
I think this is just a game changer. This is a non-pharmaceutical treatment that is not invasive at all, and it's effective for many, many people.
Tonight, WKYT's Grayson Passmore gives us a first look at the non-invasive device that could change lives. It's our top story at 11.
It's a revolutionary device in the world of addiction recovery.
This can have a profound impact in our state, no question about it.
This is the NET device. It's an opioid use disorder treatment found exclusively at Isaiah House facilities. The neurostimulation therapy reduces opioid withdrawal symptoms within 24 hours.
There's an adhesive electrode that are placed on the mastoid bone behind the ears. And through a carefully programmed series of tiny electrical pulses, it re-stimulates the production of the body's own natural endorphins and encephalins in the brain.
For people in addiction, these naturally produced chemicals become depleted or replaced by their drug of choice. When they stop taking the drug, their bodies go into withdrawal. This tool significantly, or as Mike Cox says, almost miraculously reduces withdrawal.
When a person is able to quickly get past the acute withdrawal symptoms, they're then able to more quickly fully engage in treatment than they would otherwise. And I really think a lot of people want help to overcome addiction, but they're afraid of being sick and going through withdrawal.
According to the state, in 2023, 80% of overdose deaths involved opioids. This device, a non-pharmaceutical treatment that fits in the palm of your hand, could save many lives.
I think this is just a game changer.
And it's just the start. In Lexington, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
Cox says they have only used the device for opioid use during trials, but he sees it doing wonders for other drug use as well. Residents of Meade, Scott, Bullitt, and Shelby counties are eligible to receive treatment free of charge thanks to funding from local abatement grants. If you'd like to learn more about Isaiah House and this treatment, we have information for you on WKYT.com and inside the WKYT News app.